Good morning, friends. Mrs. Campbell here, and I am so excited to share with you this story. It is called Grandma Summer, and it's by Harley Jessup. This book, I love this story so much. I look forward to reading it every year. Usually by the time I read it, it's really hot out and it's feeling like summer is coming. Not so much today. Today I am in a sweater. The flowers are blooming, the sun is shining, the bees are doing their thing right outside my window, but it is cold, so maybe this will make me feel more summery. It is called Grandma Summer, and it's by Harley Jessup. Slow down, Grandma! The car swung around a curve. Ben saw the ocean for the first time. We're almost there, darling, Grandma said. The car skidded onto the gravel road. At the end of the drive, Ben saw a small wooden house with shutters over all of the windows. They bumped to a stop. Ben groaned. Is this where we're going to stay? Yes, darling. Please help me open the door. My name's not darling. Together they unhooked the heavy storm door. Grandma turned the key in the rusty lock. The dark house looked spooky to Ben, but Grandma said, "Oh, I do love this old place. It smells just like summer. Let's open up the rest of these shutters." After the last shutter had been opened, Ben came in and saw his grandmother lighting a fire inside an old stove. "That's not safe, Grandma," he warned. She laughed. "This stove is almost 100 years old. You have to light a fire inside. You can cook on it, and it will heat the whole house." "Are you almost 100 years old, Grandma?" "No, darling. Oh, I mean Ben. Would you please bring some wood in from the garage? We'll need to keep this fire going." Ben went outside to the garage and pulled the big doors open. Now you can see in this picture, Ben is not looking like he's very happy about his summer plans. It was spiderwebby inside and full of old stuff. Ben forgot about the wood and looked around. On a shelf in the corner, he found a green glass ball. He brought the glass ball back to show Grandma. "What's this for?" he asked. "My stars! Where did you find that? Here, I'll show you what it is." Grandma drew these pictures for Ben. "It came loose from a fishing net in Japan and floated all the way across the Pacific Ocean to our beach here in Oregon." Then she exclaimed, "The beach! We've been here all morning and we haven't been to the beach yet." And she draws a nice diagram right here of the fishing floats. There's the net, and woven into them are these glass balls that helps the net float. Now, these do wash up on the shores of the Pacific Ocean, but we don't live on the Pacific Ocean. We live on the Atlantic Ocean. We're on the east side of the country. Pacific Ocean is on the west side of the country. So the likelihood of us finding a fishing float in the water is pretty low. But I guess they still do wash up on the shores in the Pacific Ocean. They carried the picnic basket together and made their way to a huge log half buried in the sand. Grandma said, "This will do," and Ben helped her spread out the blanket. The jelly sandwiches tasted good. When they were gone, Grandma said, "Let's put our feet in the water." Ben stopped at the edge of the crashing waves. No, I don't want to float across the ocean all the way to Japan. Hang on, Grandma said. Just then a big wave surged forward and swirled around them. It splashed up to Ben's knees and soaked the hem of Grandma's dress. Holding tight to each other, they howled at the feeling of the cold water. This is fun, Ben said. See, Ben looks like he's in a better mood now, so that's good. That night, Grandma made spaghetti on the old stove, and after dinner they played cards by the fire. Do you think Japanese fishing floats still wash up on the beach? Ben asked. Yes, but not so much anymore, she said, looking out the window. We'd better bring in the porch chairs. It looks like a storm's coming. Later, as he got ready for bed, Ben could hear the rain tapping on the roof. The house creaked as the wind pushed at its walls. Suddenly there was a loud boom and a flash of lightning. The electric light went out and Ben was in the dark. Grandma appeared at the door with an oil lamp. The power's out, but we'll be okay. She put the lamp down on the table, and Ben noticed a picture of a little boy holding a green glass fishing float. Who's that boy? Grandma smiled. That's your father when he was your age. Did he find the glass float? Yes, he did, just down at the beach where we were today. Grandma kissed Ben good night and tucked him under that soft quilt. He fell asleep thinking about the glass float that had been blown such a long way across the sea. Wake up, darling! No time to get dressed. We've got to get down to the beach. Grandma shook Ben awake and handed him his boots. Why do we have to get up so early? You'll see. Come on, hurry up. The beach had changed. They looked for the log where they had eaten their picnic, but it had been carried off by the stormy waves in the night. The tide was out, and the sand glistened with shells, seaweed, and driftwood that had washed up in the storm. Pointing to some people far down the beach, Grandma said, Be quick. Those people are looking for the same thing you are. I wonder what they're all looking for. I think you might be able to make a prediction about that. Ben ran as fast as he could, searching every pile of seaweed and driftwood. He found clamshells, sand dollars, and a broken teacup. Under a log, he found a starfish and a little crab. There were shiny stones of every color, worn smooth by the ocean waves. Ben was about to give up when he saw something sparkle in a pile of driftwood. He bent closer and let out a whoop. I found one, Grandma! I found one! My stars, that's a nice big one, and what a lovely green color it is. Floated here all the way from Japan, right, Grandma? Right, over 4,000 miles. What a lucky day. Let's have some ice cream to celebrate. But, Grandma, we haven't even eaten breakfast yet. They walked back through the town with their ice cream cones. People stopped to admire the beautiful glass fishing float, and Ben told the whole story 3 times. Shall we have our picture taken? Grandma asked. They squeezed onto a stool in the photo booth. Ben held the glass ball up, and the camera took 4 pictures, one right after another. When the photos were ready, Ben looked at them and laughed. Grandma, I'm still wearing my pajamas. And here you have what they must have done with the glass fishing float. There's the pictures of Grandma and Ben, and the picture of Ben's dad, and then the fishing float that Ben found, and the fishing float that his dad found. So it's a nice way to display it and hold on to some great summer memories. Now, I have 2 show and tells for this story. The first one, we're on the Atlantic Ocean and we don't typically get things like Japanese fishing floats, but that doesn't mean the beach doesn't have its treasures. And I'm going to show you. Oh my goodness, it's so heavy. This is a jar that we keep out here on our porch, and it is filled with sea glass and seashells and all other sorts of treasures we have found on the beach. We started collecting these when our kids were little, and we'd take them to the beach and they'd want to bring home stones and shells. We just bring them home and then let them play with them for a little while, and after a while we would put them in this jar. It's quite heavy. It's hard for me to even keep it lifted up this long, but there's lots of beach stones and pieces of shells and even some seaweed in here, a feather from a seagull, a sand dollar. There's a bunch of stuff in here. Oh, a top of a crab. I just saw a top of a crab in here. Now, the big show and tell, the piece that I can't wait to show you is this. This is a Japanese fishing float. I found this at a flea market and they were selling them. I don't know if it's a real one or if it was just made to look real, but this is what they are. This is the size they are. We keep this actually outside in our garden, but I did notice a crack in it, so I may have to start bringing it in. But this is what it really looks like. So this is a nice treasure, and every time I look at it, I think of this book and how much I love this story. So it's kind of fun. All right, that's it for my story today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you like the story as much as I do. One of my favorites.